good evening and welcome to the Hawaii Theater Center. Thank you for tuning in, for tuning up with Iggy and Dave. I'm indeed Dave Moss, the Executive Director of the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra, and so glad you're joining us here this evening. We've been doing this the last couple of weeks in preparation for the broadcast on HPR, but no broadcast tonight. So you get an extra 30 minutes of Iggy and Dave and a very special guest. So Iggy, you want to introduce our special guest?
Someone who brings life to everyone in these islands. Greg Dunn, the President and CEO of HTC, this wonderful place. Nice to have you.
Thank you, Iggy. It's wonderful to be here.
Greg is usually behind the camera, in charge of everything technical with his partner, Don Ard, making sure that we look good, that the theater looks nicely lit. But today it's very nice to have you in front of the camera and understand you and Dave have been in communication quite a bit ever since you got here. Is that correct?
It's been wonderful. Bringing the symphony to the Hawaii Theater was one of the main goals that I had when I took the position as the president of the theater. The theater space itself is such a rich, warm, inviting environment. The stage and the hall are so acoustically active and correct that symphonic music performed on the stage of the theater gives our patrons a completely different experience than they get at any other venue on the island.
Dave, I'm sure Greg was a great resource for you.
Absolutely. You know, and I've said it a number of times in the past couple of weeks, but our work with the symphony, since I've been here, all 6 months and 5 days, we would not be doing anything right now. I strongly feel that. Had it not been for the initiative that Greg took when we entered COVID-19 to convert this space from not just a theater, but to convert it into a production studio, and by bringing Donner on board and Bob Dickerson on audio, and all of these people working together to bring arts to the community the only way we can currently. And we're excited to talk about some of those plans here this evening and welcome you into conversation here. And just a few things as we get started. You can text and join us in conversation this evening. The number to do so is 808-528 0506. It should be on your screen as well. And we're happy to take questions. You know, we'd love to hear from you and just looking forward to our time together this evening. Now, I can see myself, and people are probably wondering why I'm still wearing a mask. And
beautiful mask.
Thank you. It is a beautiful mask. And, you know, we're getting ready to bring the orchestra back in physically social distanced small chamber ensembles and small orchestras here at the Hawaii Theater Center. And I think it was just last year that our friends at Kahala and Tori Richard had donated some shirts to the symphony so that we could represent Hawaii in the traditional Aloha shirt, not the suit and collared shirt.
Penguin suit.
Yes, no penguin suit. And so, you know, as we entered into the need to have some protective equipment for the musicians, they donated some masks to us that match those shirts. So looking forward to seeing our colleagues in these on the stage in just a few short weeks here. So thank you to Tori Richards and Kahala and all those who made that a possibility. So with that, we have a couple other people to thank as we start our broadcast here. We've been very thrilled to welcome Kakaako Wines as a sponsor and partner in these Tuesday broadcasts. This evening we have a wonderful Cabernet that they've selected for us, or we've selected together, that we're all enjoying and hope many of you are enjoying at home as well. We have a bottle to give away. We just need a quiz question, so that'll be coming here very shortly. So thank you to our sponsors for that, and a wonderful charcuterie plate.
Charcuterie.
Thank you. From our friends here at FET in downtown Chinatown, Honolulu, just across the street from the theater. So we need to sustain all these local businesses and our arts organizations through these months so that they're there for us when we can return. So.
And Greg, I know you have your phone in front of you, but it's not. It's for work.
It is for work. One of the neat things about the system that the theater installed and is part of the backbone of our relationship with the Symphony, because the Symphony earlier this year, right before COVID, we had an incredible announcement right before COVID that the Symphony was becoming the creative partners and the company in residence of the Hawaii Theater. And so that included us bringing our databases together, our information under the patron manager ticketing system that the theater operates. And it allows us to take the text messages into the theater system phone, and it comes onto your email. So I'm sitting here looking at all of the emails that people are sending in with questions and comments, so that as we're conversing over the course of the next hour, I'll try and get to as many of the questions as possible. But if they're a little off color, Dave, I'll give you a pass on.
So he's the filter over
here.
We'll
use the filter.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
It's like,
well, we appreciate that, and thank you for engaging with us in this. And I know that there's a lot of questions about what happens next. You know, I believe tomorrow we were originally scheduled to be on the stage with Joanne in town and a very special guest, Joshua Bell, and his new wife, Larissa, a wonderful soprano, in a performance down the street at another venue for the opener here. And the world had a different course for us that we're charting. Because of the stay-at-home orders, the safer at home, whatever happens next for us in the city through the mayor's proclamations and the state guidance, the travel restrictions, all those things have made it impossible for us to safely gather and for us to safely bring those artists here to Hawaii currently. So the past couple of weeks, months, perhaps since the day I started, actually, we've been in the process of figuring out how we adapt to this. How do we become nimble? How do we still pursue our mission of providing music and education and enriching the community through the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra? How can we do that when we can't be together in a concert hall? And Iggy's going to tell us how.
Iggy's brilliant. That's why everyone likes you.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, everyone loves you. Every time that I'm out on the street, people go, "Oh, is Iggy going to be on tonight again?"
Yeah.
It's like really exciting.
It is.
Well, there's so much going on that the HTC, I'm surprised people just can single one person. But, you know, I said that before, we all use the term socially distancing, whereas we probably should use the term physically distancing, because
That is proper English.
He's good about that.
Well, he should be.
Because we still need to be in touch with everyone. Mm-hmm. The musicians feed off the audience feeds off the musicians, and there's so many people involved. We had the Red Alert a couple of weeks ago, you know, that acknowledged all the people that work for those performances, you know, behind the stage, and so forth. So we still need to find a way to reach out to our community, to reach out to our students, and to make a difference. You know, we are very thankful for all the first responders. But beyond that, the health of a community goes beyond just your physical body, and the spiritual nourishment that you get through music is so important.
Well, and before we unveil the plan, you know, you brought up a really important topic that I think, especially with Greg here, it's something that Greg and I spent hours talking about. And this Red Alert restart that we had talked about, was it 2 weeks already when Anna joined us for conversation. And really being aware of the impact that the arts and culture have on this community. And the real numbers behind those, you know, arts and culture contributes $2.5 billion to our local economy.
Billion
with a B.
Locally, just Hawaii.
Just Hawaii.
Yeah.
Just Hawaii. $2.5 billion and employs over 12,000 individuals, and it's musicians, and it's our stage hands, and it's, you know, it is the front of house people, it's our box office, it's all of those people that make these performances run. that make it possible for the musicians to be on stage. You know, all of those things that are so important to our industry and our community. And we need to find a way forward because this prolonged intermission is going to be unsustainable for many. And so I think that, you know, one of the things that you and I talk about quite a bit is just, you know, lost revenue. You know, not even on the contributed side of things, but earned revenue from people filling those seats.
Well, I think most people don't realize that the money doesn't just exist to support the arts. The Hawaii Theater doesn't receive a bucket of money to maintain the theater from the city or the state. We maintain the theater by the number of tickets we sell, by the fee revenue, and also by you know, contributions we get from people when they buy tickets. Yeah. The same with the Symphony. The Symphony doesn't have a magical pot of money that appears every year and we play music and you perform in different venues. It's because of the subscribers who buy the tickets and say, we're going to support you all year long, that the Symphony is able to survive year after year. And now that we don't have a typical year where we can sell tickets, on an average year, 100,000 people will buy tickets to come to the Hawaii Theater. This year, not going to happen. Yeah. So we're in a tough spot. Yeah. You're in a tough spot. Together, we've come up with a unique way to address it, and hopefully we'll be able to satisfy our subscribers and our members and make it through the year to get to the next year and the next, so the theater can get to its 100th year anniversary.
2 years away, right?
2 years away.
2 years. We can do this. We can do this with the support of the community. Mm-hmm. And I think that in this transition, I think we're going to learn a lot of things about our organizations, about how we communicate with our patrons and all of those sorts of things. And I think new ways of monetizing programs are going to emerge, and perhaps...
That's been one of the neat things about doing the live streams is we're finding that for the symphony talks that we're having, we can have a couple of hundred people that will tune in, and a good number will donate at the same time. And those donations help tremendously because that helps just to keep us going and help pay the crew and engage and keep people engaged. Mm-hmm. And then when we get to the point where we have the musicians that are on stage and we need to pay them, hopefully people will get to the point where they're willing to spend money to see the show. We're experimenting with it on some of our popular music shows that you'll begin to see.
Classical music is popular.
Classical music is good. It's wonderful.
But I know what you mean.
You know, we just announced a partnership where we're selling tickets to Suzanne Vega.
Yeah.
And that will be a paid live stream. And that's one of the things we're trying to see if it'll work. I'm really excited with what we're going to do with the Symphony.
Yeah. Well,
not to steal your thunder.
No. There's no. It's not my thunder. It's the HSO's thunder. The fact that we've been able to transition when it's given the circumstances that we're all under, and you know, I think one of the things that you and I have talked about so much is how we view our individual organizations through this transition, and the way that I think we keep describing it is you as a theater have become a production company, mm-hmm. and we as an orchestra have become a media company. Mm-hmm. And that partnership is what allows us to keep in front of an audience and keep doing what we're doing. And you know, as we go down this path, orchestras haven't had to think of themselves like that before. And you know, when we think about how long this may or may not go on, you know, I think that the possibilities of what these four walls look like in the future is much different, and how does that add to the value of the future? Mm-hmm. So, sorry, Iggy, we're talking like...
That's okay. It's just important to remember that this beautiful theater, mm-hmm. the Hawaii Symphony, are treasures in these islands, and we need to nurture and care for them.
Yeah, as are the musicians. And I'm curious, school has started again, right? U of H is back in session. Are you teaching full time at this point? How is that transition continuing?
Well, the real full-time position I have is with the Hawaii Symphony. Everything else is on a part-time mm-hmm.
basis.
But as you said, UH opened up, the DOE opened. So as of now, most places are still doing online, UH has allowed teachers like myself to give one-on-one lessons, and it's up to the students and to their comfort level whether they want to do a online lesson or in person. So I have had half and half. I have gone to UH and I have to report about my health status every time I go to campus. I know one school on this island is planning to resume in-person classes next week. So we'll keep fingers crossed for them. But it's like you said, it's an adjustment, and every school or every organization seems to have a different plan. You know, I know one school had 6 or 7 colors code, another one had 2. It's you know, you just have to adapt, I guess. And you know, honestly, for myself, who likes to get things set and clear from at least, you know, a month in advance, it's been a bit of an adjustment. It's been hard to adjust. And you know, to be honest, you know, I'm sure everyone feels the same way. We all have a little bit of anxiety because, you know, the horizon keeps shifting, and so you never know. But we rely on leaders like yourselves to kind of provide us with good guidance.
Well, thank you. We're trying. We're trying with the knowledge that we have, and working with the other officials here in the city, and really charting a way forward for everyone, because we are both nonprofits, and I think that's another thing that I often say when talking about this relationship is that give me another nonprofit partner any day of the week. You know, that relationship, that long term, that understanding of building a philanthropic environment where philanthropy is part of the daily conversation is so crucial to the work we're doing. So, well, we getting any questions, Greg? Are we seeing anything light up at this point?
We did have someone jump in and say, just tell us already.
Just tell us already.
What are we going to do?
Oh, Merle.
So it's like, no, it's not Merle.
It's not Merle.
That's a subscriber.
Okay. It's a subscriber.
We want to make sure subscribers know we've got their back.
Well,
we've come up with some really amazing benefits for subscribers because they so generously supported the symphony and the theater, and the fact that we're going to be able to take care of them in the way that we've come up with, I think people are going to be really happy with.
Absolutely. Well, you know, before we get into this, I'm sorry to delay one more time, but some of the people who are not, you know, on a daily basis called out for all of the work that's been done is the team at the Hawaii Symphony, and we have a tremendously supportive board that's going through their own struggles with the businesses that they run, that has sustained us through this, and we have a really wonderful staff that is tremendously overworked, and I'm grateful for every one of them, and I know Merle is watching, and he's tunes in every Tuesday and gives me advice, and so I'm grateful for Merle and Steve, our finance guy, who is definitely watching as well, and Christina and Daniel and Carol Ann and Mark and everyone else, Kim, our librarian, especially Kim. The number of times we've changed programs and plans in the last, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, you know, for everyone to adjust so graciously during this time is a tremendous support for me and for the work that we're trying to forge ahead.
Can't do it without staff.
No,
sure.
Not at all. Not at all. So, and I know Greg has a team here as well behind him that's moving the mission forward with this organization, and you might have caught one behind us here a few minutes ago.
Yeah, so. One of our volunteers running back and forth in the background.
Yes.
Really, there are. The theater only has 3 full-time employees right now. Wow. Myself, Avery Fuketa, our Director of Development, and then Andrew Howard, our office manager who handles the accounting. So we have a part-time person that helps with janitorial, but the rest of the folks are volunteers. And then we have certain paid vendors that come in and help do the live streams. But the operating costs of the theater every month are about $100,000 every month that it costs us to keep the venue just in the state you see it.
Yeah.
And that money doesn't come from anywhere other than ticket sales and donations.
Yeah. Well, we applaud the work, and I always joke with Greg that I think he painted the ceiling up there, so because of the dedication and the time that he puts into this place. So, well, I suppose we should talk about what's next. And what we're rolling out here in small doses at the moment, so that we can be flexible and we can be nimble, and we can change as we can do more. And if there's a time when we can have 5 people or 10 people or 20 people in here, we're going to do that. And until that point, we are rolling out a program of streamed performances that we're, I think, appropriately calling Sounds of Resilience. And Sounds of Resilience will start on September 26th, will be the first performance.
This year? September 26th?
September 26th of this year.
That's next week.
It is literally a week from Saturday.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, yes.
A week from Saturday.
Yes.
So a week from Saturday, there will be musicians on this stage.
Yes, real
And
musicians.
There will be musicians. And they will be safely physically distanced and going through all the protocols that we have put into place and working with the city and the state and all of the film industry that's been so important to this process of getting back to work. All of those will be in place so that we can safely perform live for you. So exactly as these have taken place on Tuesday nights, a performance will take place instead of me and Iggy talking, which will definitely be
Make them very happy.
a good thing for the organization.
You're still going to come back next Tuesday, too,
Yeah,
right?
we'll be back
Okay,
next
we'll do
Tuesday,
yeah.
and we'll be back next Tuesday.
Excellent.
So the Sounds of Resilience, we're going to roll out 2 programs, the first of which is entitled Galaxy of Strings, and I think appropriately led by the master of the galaxy, Iggy Jang. The performance, it is featuring strings because of some of the issues with woodwinds and brass and COVID and those things that we're still trying to figure out through scientific studies. Science is still a thing, and we're going to use that to safely come back with woodwinds and brass soon. Not this first concert, but Galaxy of Strings is going to feature one of our fabulous musicians as a soloist as well in a concerto for harp. Iggy, can you?
Yes, but first I wouldn't want to reiterate what Dave said, that if we had a choice, we would have all my colleagues of the orchestra on stage performing for you, a live stream. Not just the string players, but the woodwinds, the brass, percussion, and piano and harp. But it's just not possible because of the directives we have been given. So, and not only that, we have a limited space because of the physical distancing between musicians. So it will be about 12 to 20 string players. So we're very, very happy to perform for you. I know my colleagues keep asking, so when are we going to play? When can we play? When can we get together? So we were talking about the process of this programming, and so I was involved at the latter stage. But maybe, Dave, can you tell us the timeline with the moving goalpost of this programming?
Yes, absolutely. So the final version of this program was iteration, I want to say 8 or 9 of things that we had planned. And we were doing that with Joanne Folletta, our artistic advisor. She's involved in all these conversations as we work with the guidance that we're given by the city and the state and how we adapt to that. At first, when we thought we were doing really well here in Hawaii, we had plans of having maybe up to 50 on the stage of the Waikiki Shell and being outdoors where it's safer for us to still be masked but to have lots more people and a lot of room on the stage. It's a very large stage where we could safely physically distance. And as that kind of became a distant memory, and that was going to be streamed as well. And there's certain things about being outdoors that make it a challenge for audio and video. And you talk about investments in a theater. There isn't a dedicated internet line there for us to use for high quality audio and video. And I think that's a point that I'd like to make about these Sounds of Resilience. I promise it's not going to be Greg and I standing around with an iPhone trying to capture what the orchestra is doing. We have the best in the business, cinema quality audio and video. This is going to be an experience that can and should be on the big screen. And so I think
that's important.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the work that we've done, and I know a lot of the folks that are watching right now are subscribers and are also Hawaii Theater members who've watched the work that we've done over the last 4 months from the very first live streams that we started with. And each successive one has gotten a little bit more complex, a little bit more refined, additional cameras, more video, better sound. And it's a testament to the vendors that we're using and working with, and their expertise and their commitment to excellence.
Yeah.
Because we want to make Hawaii Theater and Hawaii Symphony Orchestra performances the absolute top-notch broadcast quality that we can. Yeah. Because that's what our subscribers and our members deserve. And that's why, when we went out and looked for a technology partner, we were able to find Hawaiian Telcom as the official technology provider of the Hawaii Theater, and they brought in a fiber optic line for us to stream these performances in HD broadcast quality. So we have remarkable resources available to do this.
Well, and when we're talking about an artistic product, that deserves no less.
Right.
And it has to be matched on all levels. And I'm really proud of the work that has gone on to make this a possibility. But just kind of going back to the programming question, it's been such a journey because it goes from 50 to then it goes to maybe you can use 5, maybe 10, and then you're trying to think of how do you program for the instruments and the instrumentations and the venue, and Joanne can't be here with us, and so Iggy has stepped in to conduct, and then we have another conductor coming in the next week that's local here. And how do we use the local resources we have here to present something that is the highest caliber of the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra and reflective of this community? And so 8 programs later, I think we kind of narrowed it down, and I'd be remiss to say that there's 20 other orchestras on the mainland who are all doing similar things. And so when we were looking at programming, what was so important was not just to do what someone else was doing, because you know what? You can tune into any other orchestra and hear that. But what was so important was to find programmatic works that spoke to our community and to our musicians. And so that was part of the process as well. And so along with Joanne and Iggy and the program committee, which is a subcommittee of the orchestra, with their advice, and with the artistic advisory committee, which also makes recommendations on venues and conductors and the sorts of spaces that we're in and the challenges that the musicians are going to face, which with COVID has brought a whole new set of challenges. All of these people involved helped to define what the programming would be for the coming months. And, we have a plan of 5 programs. In our pocket, we actually have 10 more programs that should something change, we will go a different direction. And it's been this matrix of lining up. It's been like Tetris.
So like when you say 10 other programs, are we talking more live stream or possible in-person or mix if we're allowed?
If we're, the ability to have an audience would not change the programs that we're presenting. What would change is our access to testing here. If there was a partner out here that could come in and test the entire orchestra so that I could be confident that the flutes and the clarinets and the woodwinds, that everybody was healthy and there was very little risk of COVID, then we might be able to do something with a larger orchestra. And we're seeing this other places in the industry. Dallas Symphony is a great example that has a tremendous health resource in their community that was able to do those sorts of testing. And we saw them this past week have 50 people in their audience. And it's amazing. All of us in the industry are going, yeah, 50 people. You guys did it.
Yep.
You guys,
sold out.
Yes, sold out. Sold out. But all of those things have gone into how we got to this point. And artistic quality and safety and using, recognizing the things that we can control and and the things that we can't control, we had to just say, you know what, it's for another day.
That's really difficult for a lot of folks that are not running organizations right now to wrap their arms around. Is we hear and we feel the anxiety that people have with the lack of certainty and wanting to know, when is that concert going to happen? When are we going to be able to get back in? We want to come now. You have this on the schedule. Is it going to happen? And from our standpoint, we're like, it's scheduled. Depending on what the mayor says this week on Thursday, we may or may not be able to do what we've planned. We may have to pivot and do something else. So it's a challenging spot to be in, to constantly have this hopscotch management ethos that we're forced to operate within right now.
It is, and it's also through the lens of we in the arts and culture and in live entertainment, we were the first to close and we're going to be the last to reopen. Mm-hmm. And that's the reality that we're facing. And in the meantime, we have awesome programming, and we're going to take you on an amazing journey with us. And we are confident that this is going to continue the work that we need to be doing for this community. And in conversation with some very special people this week, we had this conversation about we as a nonprofit, we can't just take a year off of our mission. That we have to find a way forward, whatever that looks like. So I'm sure you're getting more emails. Tell us about the programs. We want to hear what we're doing.
And perhaps also.
So okay. No, you're right. It's like you missed the most important part.
Did I?
About this, which how this is a benefit for subscribers, mm-hmm. and then what's going to happen for the subscribers after the first year. Let's say we can go back and have people come back into a live stage. What's that mean for them?
So our subscribers and our members, those are going to be the first people that have the ability to come into the concert hall with us. You've gone through this journey with us. You've instilled your trust in the Hawaii Symphony, the Hawaii Theater Center, our musicians, our board. You've instilled this trust that we're going to be there when we can safely gather again. And again, if it's 50, if it's 100, if it's 500, we are committed to fulfilling all of our 7 and 10 subscription performances. Our hope and expectation is that that'll happen in January. You'll see in our notes on our website through the launch of this new procedure that we're hoping that January onwards is exactly as planned, and then some, because we had some really talented artists that were scheduled to be with us here in September, October, November, and December that we are working day and night, it feels like, to reschedule those for a time when they're able to join us again. And it reminds me of someone I left off earlier, Julie Montgomery, our artistic administrator, who has been with me through all 9 of the reiterations of these programs. So thank you, Julie. But through the launch of the Sounds of Resilience, our subscribers and our members are going to receive access to these performances at no charge. So these are live performances. So much like you got an email this evening, you'll get another link on Saturday, September 26th at 7:30 p.m. to click and join the orchestra as it's happening on the stage. And you'll hear beautiful music led
At no
by
additional
Iggy.
cost.
No additional cost.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. No additional cost.
Subscribers.
For subscribers and members. Right. Yes.
But
If you're not, and you'd like to become a subscriber and guarantee your seat in the audience, you're welcome to do so. But we also will be selling individual tickets for these performances. So if you're not a subscriber, my parents are probably watching this in Chicago right now, and they are going to get their individual $20 tickets to log on and watch Iggy lead the first performance of this on September 26th.
And the silver lining with this technology, so people are in the audience usually, and they can't come on stage. But you mentioned, the video capture, the technology, and they all will almost feel like being up close and musical with the artist. So imagine, in normal times, you're sitting in your chair and you're looking at the orchestra from a distance on stage. But I think with this new medium, you actually can come to the stage and be part of the musician's family. And I think we haven't even talked about it, but I was thinking, on Saturday when we have those concerts, maybe have a little chat with either myself or someone else, with the musicians, and it would be sort of up close, not so close like a spaghetti western, but this sort of up close and musical moment that you wouldn't have if you'd be sitting in the audience.
Yeah.
So it's a special moment to be able to come on stage. So we selected, I think, programs that are very colorful. Of course, if we could have Joshua Bell next week, we would bring him. But we find other ways to connect with our audiences and to make the music lively and colorful. So that's why I think the first work, which is why I think, Dave, you called it Galaxy of Strings, is nothing with me to do, but the first work is a very talented composer, Jesse Montgomery's work called Starburst, hence the title Galaxy of Strings. It's, imagine, divergent rays from all different places, in this case from the basses, from the cello, from the violins and violas. It's a very short work, only 3-4 minutes. It should put you in a good spirit. I'm hoping that I will be able to kind of inspire the group to give you this upbeat feel, and follow that, as you mentioned, our beloved Connie Uegio, principal harp player with us, will be performing a concerto by Handel. This work, Handel was more well known for his choral music, and I think there's an oratorio he wrote called Alexander's Feast, after Alexander the Great. But in his time, an oratorio wasn't performed one number after the other. He would break it down and perform an organ concerto, another concerto grosso, and so this harp concerto was part of a performance of Alexander's Feast. It's been revised. I think the harp has evolved quite a bit, and I believe perhaps we'll have Connie talk about the concerto next week, next Tuesday. But some of the great masters of harp playing are French. I think you have, there's Carlos Salcedo, I don't know where he's from, but Marcel Granjani, a great master, and he composed a cadenza, very difficult to showcase the instrument. So that's in the middle of this Handel concerto. And maybe we'll have some video chat before the last piece. I'm not sure, Dave.
I think it would be a great idea, as these things have been developing very quickly, and this is where great ideas come from. So the last piece is Tchaikovsky's Serenade for Strings, just one of my favorite pieces.
It's, I was just looking in preparation for next week of a video of Seiji Ozawa, who, by the way, comes here every once in a while.
I believe he's here currently.
He is.
Yeah.
Hi, Seiji.
Hi,
or maestro, Ozawa-san.
There you go.
Tchaikovsky wrote this serenade about the same time as he wrote the bombastic 1812 overture, 1812 written after the defeat of Napoleon in Russia. But Tchaikovsky wasn't so fond of 1812 overture. I think he thought it lacked a little bit of soul, just a kind of a big bombastic showpiece, as I mentioned. But he really loved the serenade. I think he wrote to his confidant and patron that it's very charming and fresh, and it has folk melodies and a theme russe in the last movement. And he wrote it in Mozart style, not meaning that he was pretending to be Mozart, more that if he was living during the time of Mozart, that's something he would have written himself. So, Greg, by the way, you told me you were president and CEO of the Better Business Bureau, but you also have a background in French horn playing, in violin playing. So you're a true musician?
Well, I wouldn't say true musician. In the style of my grandfather, I play by ear. In growing up with my grandfather, he was a violinist, and so he's in the Michigan Fiddlers Hall of Fame. And so when I was in high school, I would perform with him on stage. He would travel around the state, and we would play folk music and fiddling jamborees all over southern Lower Michigan.
So you can fiddle?
Yeah, so I can fiddle.
Wow.
So it's been a while. I'm very rusty, but I have a lot of fun. I settled in on guitar and ukulele after, and my first introduction to the Hawaii Theater was right after opening. I performed on stage at the theater with the Neighbors and Friends Christmas special.
That's
I was playing with the Keiki Halau, and that was my first time on the theater. I just fell in love. It's a beautiful place.
Impressive, wearing so many hats. So the Tchaikovsky Serenade is really a very famous work for string ensembles. And what we're hoping to do next week is to develop a personal relationship with each one of you, as you will get to see us, maybe not in person, but close up. I think it's very important to develop this one-on-one interaction. I know, we had Randy Wong of the Youth Symphony, and a lot of parents come to the Youth Symphony to see their kids so they can relate to that. But we're trying to do that with all kinds of adults.
Absolutely.
Be exciting.
So that'll be Galaxy of Strings, and I believe a ticket, a link to purchase tickets if you're not a subscriber, because if you're a subscriber, you actually don't have to do anything. You will just get the link in your inbox in the coming weeks here, because it is just a week from Saturday.
That's right. Christina's going to get right on that.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
So Christina will get it right out to you as best as she can. So don't bombard her with requests just yet. It's going to take a while to get through the huge list of subscribers. But if you're not,
you can
tonight, the thank you email that you get that comes to you will have the links for the two shows.
Yes.
So you can be the first one to purchase the tickets.
Great.
If you're not a subscriber.
Wonderful. And so that's, again, Galaxy of Strings, not Home Where the Harp Is. That was the other alternative for the title of that show. So you're welcome.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, do you?
Home is where the harp is.
Home is where the harp is? Well, maybe.
Well, Kate, but would
yes.
she have taken it the wrong way?
Maybe next Tuesday, if we have another special guest, maybe we could call Tuesday Home is Where the Harp Is. So
does Kate play harp?
She does not.
Shucks.
She does not.
That's Dave's wife. Sorry.
TMI.
Yeah. So that's just one performance, and we're doing two. So the following Saturday, October 3rd, wow, the following Saturday is October already, we will be doing a performance entitled From Chaos to Calm. And it will be led by none other than the director of the Hawaii Youth Symphony, the orchestra programs there, Joe Stepik.
As well as the director of the UH Symphony Orchestras.
Yeah.
He's been very busy, and it'd be interesting for you to compare those 2 weeks. So the first week will be conductor Les, we will all be sitting down, and usually, in such situation, the person in the first chair violin kind of leads the orchestra. But I'm also happy to have Joe, Maestro Stepek, leading the second week. He's worked with us many times, inside, indoors, outdoors as well. And a very eclectic program, a program he feels very comfortable. Joe has tremendous energy. He can look intensely happy. He can look very dramatic in his conducting. And that's another thing that you'll be able to enjoy from the comfort of your seat looking at a screen, because if you're in the audience in person, you usually see the back of a conductor. But this might be an opportunity to see the many faces of a conductor.
An idea is rolling here. It's not the kiss cam at the baseball game. It's the conductor cam. Maybe we can get something that is just featuring the conductor in the performance.
That would be fun.
Yeah, we might have to talk to someone about that.
Yeah. We know people.
We know people.
I know a guy.
I know a guy. He's a good guy. So this program, Chaos to Calm, it is an eclectic program.
Yeah. So I think the chaos.
Yeah, which is the chaos in this? I'm curious.
I think, well, let's see, there's a chaos and William Grant still, and there's, probably the Shostakovich Chamber Symphony, which is an arrangement of his String Quartet No. 8. Shostakovich, early 20th century, from Russia, very much persecuted by the regime in Moscow. So wrote this chamber symphony. Well, I'll call it chamber symphony, but what I mean is really String Quartet No. 8. And it's very much autobiographical. He has quotes from early works. He has quotes from works such as the Lenny Macbeth, whose music was very much condemned, but very small quotes so that people wouldn't notice. And I think you said it best. What do you say? I think he dedicated this piece. Dave, help me out.
So the original explanation was that he was inspired when traveling through war-torn Dresden, Germany, to write this piece. And you hear that in the piece. Later, he told a confidant that he actually was going to write this piece. This piece was written in memory of himself. And he dedicated this piece to himself. And, when he passed, that this would be his memorial. And, as we talked with Anna a few weeks back, the Dmitri Shostakovich motif of him spelling out his name is something that happens throughout this work as well. And it is a chaotic piece. It's a beautiful piece, and just the energy of that piece in this space and with the cinematic quality of the presentation, I'm really excited to present this to the audience. And it's balanced with, I guess the chaos could also be two other parts of this program. There are two pieces on the program that are portraits of America. The first is the finale from Dvorak's American Quartet, who we talked about a few weeks ago, wrote some music while he was here during his time in New York and Iowa about America. And the other piece, the other bookend of this, is written by the American trailblazer William Grant Still. And this is definitely the calm. It's a work called Mother and Child for String Orchestra. And these pieces will be balanced out by a performance of Bach's Concerto for Oboe and Violin with Scott Janisch and Claire Hazard, and featuring a harpsichord that is on loan to us from the Honolulu Museum of Art. So,
Brilliant.
yeah, I'm thrilled to see this very unique instrument, and I'm looking forward to the Tuesday before that event, because I'm hoping the harpsichord is here, because I am a bit of a early music, if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it type of guy.
Nice.
And so we'll be able to talk about that instrument, and there's a beautiful painting on the inside of it. And then most harpsichords are made of wood. This one is made of aluminum. It has a very historic past here in Hawaii and is a very unique instrument, but that will be used on the program for the Bach concerto as well.
Actually, this concerto for violin and oboe was actually originally written for 2 harpsichords, and they lost the manuscript, but they did find out that most likely the original form was for violin and oboe. So it'll be I'm very much looking forward to this piece, and that will feature my 2 dear colleagues, Claire Hazard on the violin, who usually sits with me, but for this time she'll be standing up with Scott Janusz, of course, our principal oboe player, and it'd be very nice to see them play together. I remember we did that piece a long time ago, maybe 2006, and we haven't done it since, so it's due for a visit.
Yeah. Well, I am noticing that we don't have a broadcast to go to, but we said this was going to be an hour, and we're sort of approaching the end of our time here, and we've come up with a quiz question.
You have.
A very helpful viewer sent a suggestion,
Wonderful.
but I'd already said the year, so we modified it.
We've modified this, and this is live television, so this is all happening on the spot. We actually don't know how to end the broadcast at the moment, because usually Greg is the one who pushes the end button, so we'll get there eventually. But here's the quiz question. And text the number that we gave earlier and is on your screen. What is the last name of the family who built the Hawaii Theater? The last name of the family who built the Hawaii Theater.
That's a Stump the Smarty question.
Yeah. And the winner of this will have delivered by Kakaako Wines a beautiful, I believe this is a 2014 gallery Cabernet.
It's quite nice.
It's very nice. Yeah, I'm
up in very well. I can't wait to try some of the cheese to go with it. It's already salivating over.
Well, as soon as we, So text us the answer, support Kakaako Wine, support FET, support the Hawaii Theater Center, the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra. I can't wait. Maybe it's because of the amount of effort that has gone into putting these programs together. Every hour, every minute, every second of that has been worth it. And I'm just, to have live music on the stage is why we're here.
Absolutely. You can hear all kinds of recordings and videos, and we all know that there's so many there, but again, it's just this personal experience that you can have with live music that you can replace. So I hope a question. Yes, please.
Okay, so this is really, it just occurred to me, and I never thought about this before, but with contemporary music, oftentimes we'll get people that send in a request for a song.
Sure.
And the band will play it.
Yeah.
I've never contemplated that for classical music before, because someone says, can you do Schoenberg Transfigured Night in a future program?
We definitely could. We did. I know one of my colleagues have done it. It's a very beautiful work. It's early Schoenberg, so it's not so serialism, meaning you have 12 tones, and sometimes serialism can sound like gunki, gunki, gunki. But I like it myself. But anyway, Transfigured Night is a beautiful work. So we'll put it down. Dvorak. You mentioned Dvorak, and you mentioned the last name of the person who built HTC. But did you know that the Dvorak keyboard you know, you have the QWERTY and AZERTY keyboard, and you also have the Dvorak keyboard. It's actually related to Antonin Dvorak.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that one up there with Berlioz's Sink. I've learned so much
And also,
on these Tuesday
I
nights.
used to live in Colorado, and I went to a white rafter place in Colorado, and the name was the Dvorak.
Yeah.
And they were actually also relatives of Antonin Dvorak. Anyway, when do we reveal?
Well, no, it's interesting because we've gotten some interesting guesses.
Yeah,
because
okay, great.
Someone did come, so someone's got to be on Google right now because they came up with the name of the architect that designed the theater, but not the family that paid the architect and they built the theater. So we're still looking for that. So that's coming in, but we're getting guesses. So keep guessing because there's a bottle of wine in your future.
A great bottle of wine.
That's right.
A great
Now, Greg, you said you came to Hawaii in '93, and when was this theater renovated? I know they went to some extensive.
So the theater had closed in the early 80s. So in 1985, the Hawaii Theater Center as a nonprofit was incorporated. And so you had a couple of folks in Chinatown. One was a doctor and one was the artist Ramsey, who had put the first checks in to help found the Hawaii Theater Center, along with Kanoi Casimiro and Bill Jor and a few other community leaders at the time who brought money to the table and bought the lease for the theater from Consolidated Amusements, which, by the way, was the company owned by the people that built the theater. And so that happened in 1985, and it took another 10 years and $35 million is the amount of money that they raised during that time period under the leadership of Sarah Richards as the president emerita of Hawaii Theater. And so she raised the money. They engaged a professional restoration company with architects, designers, and brought the theater back to this majestic show palace that we have today. It was not without a great deal of effort by so many volunteers in the community that we were able to salvage the architecture, bring back the gold gilding, put in amazing lights to take advantage of the Corinthian columns and the Romanesque features that you see in this beautiful, beautiful place.
Very interesting.
Well, and thanks to Donald for showing our audience exactly what that's looking like right now here. And we can't wait to have you back in here. And as we're approaching 8:30 here, are we getting any correct answers?
You know,
we're getting closer?
We're getting, no, not quite closer. We diverted for a moment off to Hawaii's railroad barons. But we're not quite there yet.
I'm not going to wait. I need to have a little sip.
You're going to have a little sip. But I will give people a hint.
Yes.
One of the boxes in the front here, we have one, which is the governor's box on this side. And then on the other side over here is the family's box. And it's named after the family. So if you're looking through doing the research, you can find it that way. The name is on the other side, Iggy, sorry. But we have several members of the family who are still donors to the Hawaii Theater. They're supporters, and we're incredibly grateful for their generosity and support. So
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Well, we could not give the answer out, and then eventually, when the first person emails you, we will make sure that that bottle.
We have a winner.
We have a winner.
Yes, we have a winner.
Okay,
so
great.
Someone just texted in. I can't see
Perfect
who
timing.
it is, but I'll email you and let you know that you are right. It was the Magoon family. The Magoons. So.
Thank you to the Magoons, and thank you for the correct answer. And we will get this bottle of wine your way early this week, so that you can.
But there was another question.
Yeah, please.
Someone wanted to know if we were going to have a wine pairing for the Sounds of Resilience.
I don't see how we couldn't.
Great idea.
I think wine is such a part of resilience that.
That's right. Well, yeah, and considering we've had quite a lot of wine that's contributed to our resilience
Yes.
over the last several months.
We'll work on that.
Yes, we will, and we'll take recommendations. You know, I've been so thrilled to be working with Alex and at Kakaako Wines through this. They've been so supportive of us, and it's just great to see a small business that's able to adapt, like we have been trying to do in this time, adapt to the challenges ahead and have success. So cheers to you for that. And yeah, you know, I think that you know, maybe some restaurant partners. You know, I wonder if some of our partners might put a menu together so that our patrons could all gather at their homes and join in a meal together and enjoy the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra. So yeah, absolutely. Well, we are about at the end of time here, so really appreciate your support. Thank you for joining us tonight on behalf of the Hawaii Theater Center and the Hawaii Symphony Orchestra. Thanks to Greg and the team at the Hawaii Theater for making this a possibility. Iggy, thank you. Donard, all of our sponsors, thank you for your support, and look forward to seeing you here next Tuesday for conversation, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday the 26th for Galaxy of Strings. Aloha and mahalo for your support. Thank you.